Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are at episode 20 of Northern Reflections with Sherry Banman and obviously my daughter. We come here to talk about all kinds of stuff, and yeah, we're back again to talk about some more of police misconduct, government misconduct, why we should not trust the government. We should never trust the government. We should only trust what we see from the government, not what they say, because what they say oftentimes is a lie. So we're going to bring back some stuff because I had run ins with the government for a long time, but the worst one was back in, at the time it was in 1997, where my oldest daughter got taken by Child and Family Services unprovoked. I was never told the reason why, ever, ever. And then I lost all parental rights and so forth. And she became a permanent ward of the state, of the crown. But I was like, I'm not going to give up. And so I fought and I got the custody of my daughter back. So let's look at some of these documents here. So it shows you the date there of when that happened. That was in 2001. So after, and just so that you can see from the beginning, that's a consent order where they were removing their permanent guardianship order and they put a temporary order in place while it was getting the custody order, right? And there you can see that it's all signed. And then there you go. I got the full custody order in 2003. I had an interim custody order while we were getting some other stuff dealt with and so forth. But you can see right there that it is my daughter that I got custody of. And so this was like a lot of work to do that. Like, and Sherry, you deal with this all the time with people taking kids from CFS.
I do. It's probably the most disgusting thing that I have to actually witness and fight against. But the more people that become aware of it, the more people could possibly stop it. Unfortunately, our system is beyond broken, and I think we all know that by now. And like some of the places that I brought the kids from, just these homes and these group homes, the group homes, like literally any single place that these children are put into, it doesn't matter the age, they don't have proper guidelines. Like they have strict guidelines, I will say that. They have real strict guidelines, everything like that. But as soon as your child hits drugs, prostitution, things like that, then it's almost like these law authority people get scared and they run and they don't help them. They don't even try.
No.
It just is.
And they know that this happens frequently. Like when I looked at kids who got in trouble with the law and that were in and out and into prostitution, all these kinds of things, almost all of them were wards of the state. So when I saw that my daughter got was a ward of me, they took her. I was like, "You're gonna have to kill me before I let you have her." And I remember in the courtroom after she was a permanent ward, because they had a lawyer that was a pinhead, right? That just stood there, and it was like got sodomized by the other side and didn't do anything. And then so I ended up had to go with a different lawyer, and even he was bending over to them. And in the court, they wanted to give her over to the maternal grandmother. And I got up and I said, "Over my dead body." And the whole court was silent. You could hear a pin drop. I went home. I went and downloaded the entire Child and Family Services Act of Manitoba, and I read the entire thing. Like nobody saw me for like 2 weeks. I had a friend that was using in law school. I got their Westlaw account and was able to look up the cases, and I went through the charter and wrote like a 13-page letter series of them and broke down what was going on, sent it to a bunch of different people, and everybody realized who they got it, and then they were just like, nope, they backed away. right? And I went to the media, I went to the elected officials, and I went to the people at Child and Family Services. Every person that was involved got notified. When they all realized that, they backed away. And like, how many people do you see that after they lose all rights to their kids, get them back?
Not very often at all.
And how many of them
No,
are
not
men?
yeah, not very often. But again, like Keisha is very lucky to have you fighting for her because honestly, most parents they think as soon as they kids get taken that they can't fight because they really believe that their hands are tied. And really they are unless they do exactly what you did. You have to dig in and you have to like fight tooth and nail and don't take no for an answer.
Yeah, even my mom, her family didn't really give a damn either, but she didn't show up to any of the hearings. She didn't show up to
Yeah.
anything. And like, they were requesting even to give me to my maternal grandmother, but she didn't show up to things either. And when they did see me, they were doing egregious stuff. Like, it's really sad that they don't even actually keep proper records of this either. Because if they didn't, because I went and looked up this online just the other day. I was trying to look up how many people actually get their child back from permanent ward of the Crown or the state if you're in America. They don't show the records of them. Actually, they told me, I told ChatGPT to search all of the courts, like in the different states and also federally, and they're like, there is no record. And I was like, well, that's very funny because my dad himself, I showed the documents to him. I showed the documents to ChatGPT, and they were like, "Oh, this is such a groundbreaking case that this shows that the government also doesn't do proper reporting on this." And then also, they don't actually they don't make the idea to the parents that yes, if you actually do something about this, you can actually get your children back. So like you said, people are having the idea, okay, well, if my kid gets taken in this way, that I'm finished, and then they're just discouraged. They really just throw their hands in the air and give up. And if they actually posted things about this publicly or like put it on the news, oh, look at this father whose child was unlawfully taken, but he fought all these years to get the child back, and the child was given back. And then also, if there's consequences for the people in those different agencies, because that's a crime. Those people should go to jail. Like, when you go and take kids like that, you need to go to jail because the suffering that a child goes through in those different homes is like egregious.
It is. It is. And that's why, today they have so much problems getting foster care and group home workers and facility workers is because there has been so many horrible things that have happened in these places that nobody wants to attach their name to it anymore.
I want people. I'm gonna bring something up here, which most people in Canada don't realize, but they need to understand. So I'm gonna pull this up here. All right. So actually, let's go back. Right there, that's the Criminal Code of Canada, right? It says abduction and contravention of a custody or parenting order, which people that make sense. But then the next one underneath it, 283 subsection 1, it's abduction. And it says everyone, and this is for parents. Anybody who being a parent, guardian, or person having lawful care or charge of a child under the age of 14 years, if they take, entice away, conceal, detain, receives, or harbors the child, whether or not there is an order referred into subsection 281, subsection 1, in respect of the child with intent to deprive a parent, guardian, or other person who has the lawful care or charge of that child of the possession of the child is guilty of an offense for not exceeding 10 years. So you can get 10 years in prison just for withholding the child. That's abduction, right? And then, I mean, 20 years later, well, we'll look at that and we see the message that I got on June 1st of 2020 saying you're not going to see your kid. That is a crime, and then threatens me with police if I step foot on the parent's property. So this again is a crime, and we're seeing this, and you see that the police have been involved in allowing these types of crimes to continue because when one parent takes a child away from the other child, that's not a civil matter. That's the criminal law says that you cannot do that. That's a crime. And so they allow these things to happen by doing nothing and not reporting the crimes when people go to the police. That's a huge problem, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely is. And it's everywhere. Like it's more common than not. That's the sad part.
Yes. It is. It is
Like it used
abs
years ago it was like, yeah, there'd be a case here, case there like this. And we would get shocked when we were dealing with these kind of situations because it was so rare. Now it's almost like if you're not dealing with a case like this and it's a new, like something new, or it reverts back to actually following the law, it's actually quite shocking because there is hardly any cases like this without this kind of garbage in it.
yes, it is. This is absolutely absurd that they allow this to happen. And the government is in bed with this, allowing this to happen. And this is why we have to sit down and pay attention. I'm extremely because the hell that I went through to get my daughter back, all those years ago, it almost made me drop. I was, it started when I was 23. I was a young man, right? Like, I can't imagine what happens when people are older, especially with the women, if it just about destroyed me at 23 to 27 years old. What is
But
it going to
that's their
happen?
plan.
Exactly. I get it.
That's That's their plan. They did everything they possibly could to weaken you, to weaken parents. That's what they do all the time, so that the parents give up and the kids stay in the system, because they get a lot of money, $26,000 depending per month, depending on which facility they go to,
Yes.
right? Per month. And then there's all the extras on top of that. So they get nothing but money. To me, it's just another money laundering. That's all it
Y-
is. Using the
yes.
Especially
children.
with the kids, and even when the kid is like native or something.
Yeah. And what my lawyer told me after this, because I told him, I said, you should be paying me after I did that. And the thing got reversed. And even the lawyer for Child and Family Services said they're never going to come in your face ever again. And whenever they came to talk to me, I said, get lost. And they would,
Hmm.
because Kaysha's mom used to try to call and create all kinds of stuff. They're like, oh, well, if you just do this, I said, beat it. I said, do you have any evidence of me doing any of that? No? Well, then get lost. That's not the way our system works. You're innocent until proven guilty. I don't got to prove nothing to you, right? And so they didn't want anything to do with this. So this time around, they got the police to get involved, and we're going to look at the occurrence reports that I had from. We're going to look at several of them, but we're going to look at one from when they arrested me. So there you see it on July 22nd of 2020. There's an occurrence report for resisting arrest, right? And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to look to the next page. But what do you see on there on the 22nd of July? The court tells the RCMP to keep me out of the court. But they didn't, they said that there was telephone hearing. They said that the emergency order for the custody hearing was telephone, but the order that I was taking the RCMP to court over the COVID matter, that was not a telephone hearing. And they couldn't deal with that over the telephone based on it being an essential service and needing to have it properly represented in the court. But they didn't want to hear that. And they showed there on the 23rd that I was arrested, not like the occurrence report said on the 22nd. And there it is again. And then there's the court sheriff. There is the police and so forth. And they
You don't look
arrest.
like you're resisting arrest to me.
I know. I know. I know. And this was after they threw Kaysha down on the ground, ragdolled her, dragged her off into the car, trying to piss me off so that I would react and so forth. So you see there that they have a warrant for resist arrest in hand on the 22nd before they arrested me, right? How is that?
Yeah.
Can somebody explain to me how that's possible?
It is, well, it is possible. That's what they do every day nowadays.
I
The
know.
only way that's possible. They have their own set of rules, their own set of laws. And
Yes.
everybody who knows me knows that I'm one of the first ones to go at them because of their rules and policies and bylaws and all their other garbage.
Yes. This is nonsense. This is absolute nonsense what these guys are doing. Right? Like, and people have to sit down and begin to sit down and say that they're doing these things, but the law doesn't justify it. The reason why they're getting away with it is because time and time again, too many people are sitting down and allowing this to happen. Right? This is nonsense. So after I got arrested, we'll take a look at where I went to, right? And this is really where people got to realize, because they hauled me away, then they strapped me to a bed, and they drugged me against my will. And here are some pictures that not everyone has seen before, so we'll just pull them up, and we're gonna see some of the injuries that I had from the restraints. Right, there's you can see that cut, and that was from the arrest and the restraints. Right, you can see there bruising. I'm a person that I almost never bruise, right? And so I got bruising and so forth on my hand from that and so forth. So this is from, the restraints and so forth. So this is what was going on. So people are saying, some people were trying to gaslight me and saying, "Were you even in the hospital?" Well, I mean, that looks like that to me, right? That's pictures of me in that hospital. But this is again showing what these people are doing. This is the day that they dragged me away from going into the court, and the court sheriff was there, right? Like, I mean, then they made a series of these orders, and I'm just going to quickly pull those up so that we people can see what went on while I was being strapped to that bed and drugged. Right? This is what our government is doing, and this is what people have to understand. Because this, I'm not the only person this happens to. This is what people have to understand. This is a well-oiled machine, and it happens frequently. So there's the order, and it takes away. Says I took away custody, even though she was abducted according to the law. I lost my house. They said that they could sell my house and give away all the property and everything, all on a first appearance, with me being dragged away by the court. No mention. You can see the time on this. This is order is given at 4:03, right? And this is very important for people to know. And then the judge, there's the clerk signing off on it. And then that's the divorce hearing that said they put this is 2 years later, to sever the division of property, sine die, and separate it from the divorce. But they divided the property while I was strapped to a bed and getting drugged against my will. And then there's the fiat that that the judge put out. No mention that I was arrested or any of that stuff. Right? They're like, oh well, we just don't know where he is. Right? And this shows you what they were trying to say, which doesn't apply. This is the COVID hearing. They copy and pasted it. They don't even have a signature on it. Right? Was done while I was strapped to a bed and drugged against my will. And there's a section of the Family Property Act of the things that it says that they shall consider, and they have to consider all of these things, and that was never done. He just said, "Oh, I'm satisfied." Right? That doesn't cut it. Right? So you can't do that on the first appearance. But then,
And that same judge said to keep you out of the court the day before.
so the court instructs the police to keep me out of court. They strap me to a bed, and we're going to get the police's own words that actually state this. So let's I'm not going to just say that believe what I say, but believe what they say, because they wrote this down themselves. And this is absolutely absurd. Right? Okay, there we go. There we go. So we'll bring that up now. Okay, so we're going to go back there. So you know that they're saying that there was an arrest. So if anybody wants to pause it and look at it, now we're going to go there. They talk about arresting me. And then they said they're going to be giving me a summons for resist arrest once I'm getting out of the hospital. And they said once I was released, I went and I lived in Alberta. This is all the stuff that they're saying. So they're contriving this already. But I want us people to look at the time where they saw that they arrested me. This is 9:50, 9:50, 9:55 in the morning, that they arrested me entering the court. And so it says by 10:35, right? This is long before the order. It says that they restrained me and they gave me 2 injections by 10:45. So I was drugged, incapacitated, and unable to attend or anything because I was in La La Land because they doped me up and strapped me to that bed. And the RCMP stated that they put me in the restraints, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, and drugged twice. That's what's crazy.
Yeah. So when people are like saying all these kinds of things, you haul somebody away, you're taking them to court, the police to the court. The court orders you to them to keep you out of court, and this is over. This is the what I was taking in the court was over the engineering controls that nobody wants to talk about. The one that I had in the book, the engineering of even the COVID-19 and negligent engineering practices. Will this kill people? These are the papers that I did, and I'll show them later that I did over the course of my degree. Now, you order those things in that situation. That's a huge problem. That is a massive problem. And I don't even know what to say. Like, what are your thoughts seeing this, Sherry?
Well, as much as, of course, you must, as much as you'd like to hear me say that I'm wowed by it, I'm really not, because I have seen similar situations like it. Unfortunately, it's disgusting what level of authority they believe that they have to be able to drug you, to be able to not allow you to attend your own court hearing for your divorce and for your property, for your children, things like that. Like, it's absolutely disgusting that they would think something like that is okay. And my question is really, how do these people actually sleep at night? How do they make it through a day? Unless, of course, they're injecting themselves as well.
Well,
Like,
exactly. I mean, and well, for the family matter and the criminal negligence, like the amount of damage that they did there that affected a whole boatload of people because what they prevented from actually doing is helping people deal with the pandemic correctly, and then a lot of people died as a result of it. And it's like not just us were affected, boatloads of people. And it's like for me, I agree with you. I don't understand how these people can sleep at night knowing the things that they're doing to people. And then the people who go around and help perpetuate these messed up ideas or lies or whatever so that they can continue to let this stuff happen. It's like you have to be a next level sick kind of person. Whether you, like I could understand someone being paid to do evil, like that's another sick kind of mess. But people who go around doing this stuff for free and it's like that's all they do all day, every day. I'm like, that has to be a mental illness. You can't be, there needs to be like a DSM-5 certification for that because you can't be right in the head doing stuff like this. Like you can't, but because you slap on a government employee badge, now you can go around acting like a psychopath, like a remorseless sociopath and psychopath. Like it, it doesn't
and
make any sense. And then they're gonna go ahead.
I was just going to say, and that is right there. Everything you just said is how it is 100% confirmed that it comes from the government. Because these law enforcement officers and all these facilities, they are ran by the government. Anything they don't swear an oath to protect the people. They swear their oath to
No.
protect their government, right?
right. And
So
yeah, and then the
whatever
people
the government
getting
says
up,
is what they're going to do.
yes, and then the people who get upset by the response of the individuals who are being abused this way, when when you're stripped of everything and you have nothing and you're forced to leave your own home and your own province, and governments are forcing people into the positions to do certain things, and then people are going around blaming them and persecuting them further. But we do have to take a quick break, I guess, I think, for commercial.
Yeah, we need to hear from the Pillow Man. We'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce the next generation of energy drinks, Rev 7. It has no sugar and no caffeine. Instead, Rev 7 uses Go BHB. Go BHB is one of the body's primary ketones, and it provides the most efficient and clean fuel that your body needs. It also helps you stay energized all day with no crashes. Not only that, it produces 3 times more brain energy than sugar, which helps boost your memory, focus, and mental sharpness. It also helps reduce stress and helps balance your mood. Rev 7 does all that while being the best tasting energy drink ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% today. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7. For a limited time, you get our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. I drink Rev 7 every day and I absolutely love it, and so will you.
So for anyone who needs the MyPillow products, go to mypillow.com/cares or call 800-845-2942. Use the promo code cares. Or if you want to support, if you're watching on Rumble, BitChute, or Facebook, you'll see all the links in the description, or you can support using the donor box or the Gifts and Go that will be coming across in the ticker to support all of this injustice, to fight against this injustice that we are all experiencing. And this, when I look at what's going on in this country, this stuff really needs to be put to bed, right? And we're going to go and look a little bit more about some of the occurrence reports, because it's not just that, because they gave me some documents, and they didn't give me all of them, like the recordings that I asked for, because I would like to see the recording of the phone that I didn't have, and the call they said that they made. But what the case was is that they gave me some more occurrence reports demonstrating that they were continually lying. So we're going to look at this here. Okay, so let's go back here. So they said that I reported theft of my backpack, which was taken in the arrest, and I'll show the pictures of it, my phone, and my keys and so forth, that you'll see them taking during the arrest. They said that I called on August 6th, which I did not yet released, and I'll have the video I'll show the video later of when I was released. And they said that they contacted me by phone, they couldn't get a hold of me, I made this report, and all of these things. And this is them writing it up and contriving a whole narrative, right? And this is what the police said. And they're trying to make me look like I've lost my mind. They're like, well, he was in the mental facility, so implying I didn't know what I was doing. And there's a whole bunch of these things that were done, and I'll be going over later in a different podcast. And I put a thread out showing some of the stuff that they were talking about, that they were all talking about this, and they created that this was false. Because there, you can see the RCMP, they're taking my backpack. You can see the sheriff, who's got the blue gloves, is holding my hand. You can see that it is there. You can also see that they're taking it right there. And then you can see the RCMP has his hands on my backpack. And then finally, you can see my phone and my wallet and glasses that are sitting on the top of the car while they are taking me away into the car. So I did not have possession of those items that they claim that I reported stolen, which I didn't report them stolen, because I'm going to show the video of what happened when I was released from the RCMP custody, or not the RCMP, but when they came in and let me out of the hospital. And note, I'm wearing the identical clothes that I went in, because those were the only clothes that I had, because that's all I went in there was the shirt on my back.
Yes, so he mentioned to me that this was provided to her, and she said that she's moved everything that was yours. Everything's waiting in the garage. It's locked right now, so I'm just going to get a key open. She had mentioned that there was a wallet that had some contents and things like that, so I can't say specifically, like the individual items that you're talking about, but she had mentioned that she got the letter and that everything that you had mentioned, everything that was your possession, anything like that, was moved to the garage, and so we'll get that open. And like I said,
what about the cell phone?
she had mentioned it. So if there's anything that you don't see right away, I can make a phone call and see if it's somewhere easily accessible. If there's anything that's not here tonight, we're not going to be able to go through the home and search for things like that. We're going to have to deal with that another day. But absolutely, we're here just to keep the peace while we do this.
Yes, because there's corporate.
So they said that they never talked to me. They said that I filed a report and that they didn't know where anything was. But they're clearly saying on that recording that they were speaking to, the person they were speaking to was my ex-wife, and this is what they're talking about, my belongings, right? And this is the ones that they said that I reported stolen, but they acknowledged about the phone that I didn't have, because this is, they said that report was made on August 6th. This video is on August 7th of 2020, the day after they claimed I made the report. And then I will show you the video of what when I actually received the backpack, because I have a series of videos, but I'm just going to show the portion where I received the backpack with the phone that day from those people. And this is here. We'll just pull it up here.
Worth of tools. Sure. Do you know exactly what's missing? Have you spoken to her about it?
See, there's the
the keys were in here. Okay. They're not there. Okay. The two keys that were there were $20,000 worth of tools that were there. Okay.
Isn't it cold today? Here, put your blanket back on, baby.
and there was the phone. All the things that they were saying that I reported stolen and they had no idea what went on, there it was. And the RCMP said they were going to arrest me when they saw me, but I just took off and left to Alberta, so they didn't arrest me, but there was 2 RCMP there, right? So who's lying? I mean, this is just further evidence of what was going on. You can tell, I'm drugged. I'm slurring because they drugged me to all high hell. Right? That is torture, what they did. And because my daughter was abducted, then the court directed them to keep me out of court. They took me and strapped me to a bed. They drugged me against my will. They wiped me out financially. The guy who took the video, Robert Cannon, took my oldest daughter out to turn around Black Diamond and sexually assaulted her. They took my other daughter, so they used her to wipe me out financially. And they used torture to do that. Torture is an aggravated assault. That's human trafficking right there, end of story. And it's a life sentence for everyone involved. That is the reason why my daughter ended up leaving Canada. And the reason why they did this was because of this. And I'm just going to bring this up quickly because everybody said that that I was insane and that I couldn't know what I was doing, and what I was doing was gibberish and all of this stuff. But let's just bring up this here so people can see. All right, so there is, let's bring that up. This is what was done for partial fulfillment of my degree. And you can see there's the letter of transmittal to the program head at Memorial University for my Bachelor of Technology, and this was in 2021, but I was doing this research beforehand and presented it to them. And this is what they keep saying and it's published in this book that was published in 2022. This is the thing that they keep saying is nonsense, that they can't understand. Nobody can read this, but clearly I graduated. My program head, who's a professional engineer with a PhD, could understand it. I got a 4.0 GPA and a 4.0 on all the work I did for the project, and it was under several professional engineers with PhDs. But people want to tell me that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. The other people who are not engineers or engineering technologists are going to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, but this is biosecurity. Fauci said in 2012 that they were spreading gain of function pathogens through aerosols. You know what gets rid of aerosols? HVAC systems, engineering controls. That's how you deal with this. So when I was coming forward, I was telling them on how to properly deal with biosecurity. This is a national security matter. And this critical weakness came from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. When they strapped me to a bed, tortured me, and wiped me out, that told me that they wanted to ensure that those biological weapons spread, that we know were created by gain of function. That's what happened on July 23rd of 2020, and they used my little daughter to do it. That's one of the vilest crimes known to man.
Yeah, I can't even disagree. That's absolutely 100% exactly. And they had a plan when they started it, right?
Yes.
100%.
And this is the reason why my daughter went to the United States. And when she showed up, she had this information within her possession. The border agents at Sweetgrass, Montana, took into custody evidence of a critical weakness that was a national security matter on how they were able to spread biological weapons that we know now from admission from the what was going on at the U.S. Select Committee, the COVID Select Committee, that it was definitively gain of function. And I said that this is what you would do if you wanted to spread it. And even if it wasn't naturally occurring, you're allowing a disease to spread to create more death. And that still is a crime. And this is what she was taken into custody for and treated in that way because they didn't want that information to see the light of day because I am fully qualified to do what I'm doing. And that's the reason why all of this, that book and that information, so that they could kill people. That is why. That's intent to murder. Crimes against humanity.
Well, and that's the thing. And as soon as they started to realize that people were catching on to all the stuff that you're doing and how you could prove it, then they took things to another level.
That's exactly it. That is exactly it. And this is why you see the only thing that you could sit down and say that the reason for any of this was conspiracy. Because I'm going to lay, and I laid out in a post on X how police, when Kaysha went to report the rape in Florida, they didn't notarize her documentation. And then when she did add it on, they did notarize one section, but they didn't put the file number, so they couldn't put them together. And then lo and behold, and they didn't send the body cam footage or the interview notes. And lo and behold, the RCMP were like, "Well, we can't investigate, so we're just going to have to close it." And then they listed me as the one who made the complaint. No, I was just on the phone because she had a problem calling from the United States, and she wanted my assistance because the police have always been criminals, and there's evidence of it why she doesn't want to deal with them by herself because of how they've been treating her. And they watched how she watched them haul me off and knew that they were drugging me and torturing me. So you think she wants to be there by herself? No.
And not only that, what they did to her.
Yeah, they took her to her workplace and had a bunch of men search her and interrogate her over those engineering infection controls under the guise of COVID quarantine. Right?
100%, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and
Yeah, and
what's
what's
crazy
crazy.
to me is that a lot of people like I think even the people that watch that have no compassion or like the people who, try to go around it even if you don't understand something, just shut up. Like, don't say anything. Like, if I don't understand something, I'm like, okay, it's not my business. I don't understand. I'll stay out of it. But like people that go around trying to make life more difficult for someone in that situation have no compassion for what they experienced or what they went through. It's like everybody thinks, oh, well, why would you do this? Why have you done that? It's like if you were in my position, you would be a crackhead, a prostitute, you would have killed yourself, like so many other things that I just refuse to do. Like you said, when you watch your parent get hauled off and drugged, and then you're taken somewhere to to be interrogated about his engineering research, and then they torture you at your own place of employment, and everybody acts like, it's nothing, even though you work in the entire facility, you're just locked down in a small room, and then you have all these abuses happening. That alone is enough to make people kill themselves. Like, let's just be honest. And then everything that happened after that, the next 5 years, all the rape and abuse and drugging that I had, and beatings I took, and guns that were pulled on me because people were trying to strong arm my dad into stop doing like the work that he was doing to help people. It's like, I think you have to be a very, very sick and twisted individual to look at a situation like this and say, you know what, screw you, like that doesn't matter, or like, because I could never see that happen to somebody and think that that wouldn't also happen to me and my kids in my future family. I don't have any kids right now, but I'm saying, like, if I was a
Unfortunately,
parent and I was married.
unfortunately, unfortunately, that's not how their brains work, though, right? Unfortunately,
Exactly.
people
Yeah.
and people always live in the "it won't happen to me" state until it happens to them, right? And
Exactly. And then it's too late. And
yeah, and that's what we're dealing with in the world today. Like, I'm sure neither one of you, when it first happened to you, ever even could even imagine this happened to you, right? And that's
well,
that's the
the
horrible
thing
part.
is, well, we had, like, because of what happened to me as a child and how badly I was raped and abused in foster care, I knew that the government was doing messed up stuff. I just, for the COVID stuff, I couldn't imagine that because I had no idea about engineering stuff until my dad started doing engineering. So in that way, but then once that happened, when I see injustices happen, I get pissed off because if I see injustice, I'm like, you're doing it in front of me because you think you can also do it to me and people around me or people that I care about. And people need to have that mindset that nobody just does things in front of you just because. Like, it's because they're challenging you in the same time. They're trying to get consent to do it to you and the people that you care about by doing it in front of you, but people don't take it as an offense. That's the problem. If you witness evil, you can justifiably say, within reason, they're going to do it to me too. That's just common sense. But like you said, they don't use their brain.
Hello, Sherry? Oh,
Oh, is she frozen?
I think so. Oh, it looks like connection issue. Of course there is. That always happens
Yeah.
when things go sideways. Yeah, she got disconnected. But at the end of the way, I just got the message. So yeah. Yeah, so yes. So at the end of the day, what ended up happening was people sit down and say all that kind of stuff, and they say illegal immigrant and all this kind of stuff. But when somebody shows up at your border with evidence of national security concerns on how biological weapons are going to be spread through aerosols and provide a solution on to secure your country, taking them into custody when they have that evidence is a crime. You can't use the law to commit crimes against humanity. You can't. You can't use any laws so that they could commit treason because COVID was necessary for them to create the circumstances for widespread election interference. And I talked about this on Steve Stern's call on how this was done. And so, yeah, Sherry's computer crashed, so it might just be the two of us by the time it gets sorted out. But this is what ends up happening. You cannot do that whatsoever when this stuff is going on, because I mean, at the end of the day, you have to do what is right. And when somebody shows up, and this is what Department of Homeland Security is for, is to deal with things like this. When somebody brings that information in, you don't disregard it. But you can see that there was a concerted effort, and it was done by lies from the government. So people can go back and see these things, because I got these from FOIA requests and I put it up with the evidence to show that they were lying. Everything that the RCMP and the court said, and everybody else that said around July 23rd of 2020, was a complete lie and fabrication. Their own documents contradicted. I got the body cam footage and showed that they were laying in wait. That what they said didn't match what they wrote down. But again, because people see that they're a police officer and whatever else they want to use to justify it, oh, well, he must be wrong. Oh, he must be this, or he must be that, and everything else like that, and say all kinds of this, that, and the other. But the fact remains, and then you can go look this up. ASHRAE says that 80% reduction in airborne pathogens with proper HVAC infection controls. So even if you got 50% or 40%, how much of a reduction, how many lives would have been saved? Would they have been able to justify putting out the vaccines? And if it came out that they did the pandemic preparedness wrong, then they would have had to ask why they did this, and why was this inherent systemic flaw in pandemic preparedness put out over and over again. And everybody who's chasing down my daughter saying that she's this, that, and the other, they are overlooking the most important aspect of this whole equation. And that was, again, this work that was done under the guidance of professional engineers with PhDs. That work right there that would have prevented a lot of death, because it is necessary to implement these types of things to slow the spread of the biological weapons that we knew was created with the help of the Canadians when they sent the bioweapons to Wuhan. Sorry, yeah, and that's kind of really where we're at. So, at the end of the day, it is what it is. There, it looks like you're back. And that's kind of really where we're at. So, at the end of the day, it is what it is. There, it looks like you're back.
Yeah, some things I don't like me talking about.
Really where we're at.
It's too funny. I can't hear you guys.
Whoops! There we go. I like talking to myself again. I mean, at the end of the day, the government committed a huge crime. And the Canadians, those Canadians there, obviously not all, but those ones there, they helped to ensure that no one would have been able to properly present the proper infection controls to make sure that their businesses did not shut down, that their loved ones didn't die. They wouldn't have been able to justify the vaccination program. And this is where, when I look at the engineers and the engineering technologists for not standing up at the beginning harder, are the reason why people are in this position, because the CDC, the Public Health Agency of Canada, or any health agency, they have zero authority to put out engineering controls. None. That's really where it is. And I said what I said, and I don't even care, because they're not the authority. They're not. So it's time to do things right so people don't get killed. Right? And I don't care what people say. I don't care what people want to say about me. I value human life over policy and procedure, because the Constitution doesn't say you get to murder people for policy or procedure. The Charter don't say that neither. So I don't care what anybody says. Take that and shove it up your hind parts for all I care. Because if you're using that to murder a person, you're a murderer, right? You're doing this so kids get raped. You're a rapist and a trafficker and a pedophile, as far as I'm concerned.
And that's the thing that people need to start making these people accountable. Murder is murder, rape is rape, trafficking is trafficking. Just because they may have all these gazillion made up laws doesn't mean that all these things don't apply to them, right? The people need to start understanding that the only people that are going to stop this is the people, because the government and the authorities, they are no different. They're probably, I'm going to say the Canadian side of things, only because I'm not paying attention to all the rest stuff around the world, and I am, but not really, is probably worse than the cartels.
100% agree. They because they have the protection of the state,
That's right.
right?
And they intentionally do this. It's not something that they're just doing, oh, this one, a couple families here, a couple families there. No, this is a program that goes throughout every city, town, province in Canada.
The reason why they hate me is because I just won't go away. Because I'm like, you don't have the lawful authority, and I will fight you till I drop dead. Because you don't have my consent, and this is what
No,
we need. We need more people to stand up.
they need to learn that they have a right. They need to understand that they have a right, and they have to start walking into that right and getting a backbone. We talk about this all the time. Men need to become men, and women need to let the men be the men.
That's exactly it, because that's how these problems get solved, is when men go and deal with the other men and take them to task. Because if it has to go down to force, then let it go down to force, because the women ain't going to win in a battle with men if it comes down to force. We're the ones that bring the force to protect, and we can back it up with ourselves. And that's really where it boils down to. And it's time that we start doing this. Well, we're running up on time, so I'm going to close here with a prayer, but we need to stand up, especially here in Canada, because when it comes down to getting things done, we were always known to do the impossible. They always called us to do the dirtiest work, and we need to start standing up against our totalitarian government, because ain't nobody going to do it for us, right? It's really it. All right. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. We thank you for the hope that you have given us this day. And help all the women to find the courage and to humble themselves before God, and to think about their family and the children in the future, that they would work together, that we could rebuild our families, our churches, our community, our nation, that we could resist this tyrannical government who are seeking to destroy our children, is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
And thanks, Dad, for the prayer as always. And yeah, like Sherry said, the men need to be men, and the women need to let the men be the men. I see too many women today who go around trying to explain the intentions and actions and other things of men as the way men do, and that stop. We're taking responsibility as women away from men, and accountability for their responsibility to be good leaders and protectors and providers for women and children in society and even themselves. So that needs to stop. All of you women that do that, please just stop. Let's just let men be men, women be women. Anyways, thanks guys for your time and considerations. We'll check you in the next one. And to my dearest Karis, until we meet again, my friends, and we will. Ciao.